Warren Buffett once said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Work until you die? Well, we're definitely not doing that. And that is why I've created Life of Dividends. And this is our dividend portfolio update for trading week ending April 25th, 2025. So before we jump into the dividend portfolio update for this previous week of April 25th, 2025, I thought I'd give you a little bit more info or insight into Life of Dividends. I am nearly 55 years old, and up until this point, I spent my life, I think like most people, just going through the journey and living life and not really putting much into retirement because I was chasing a dream. And unfortunately, just like we saw in this weekend's NFL draft, not everybody's dream becomes reality. Even though you put in the hard work, the dedication, you sacrifice and you grind, it may not be up to you to whether you get to that next level. However, with that said, most of what my discretionary income has been, I would say since I was 18, 19 years old, was put into chasing that dream and all of the expenses that come with that. But now we've moved past that stage of life and having to understand what we need to do for ourselves to transition into full-time retirement and not have to work for a living anymore. Income dividend or stock dividend income stocks, or how do you say it? Stock income dividend ETFs captured my attention last year, just about this time, because I was looking at income dividend paying stocks, but I was only finding those that, paid less than 10 cents or maybe 12 on a monthly basis. Nothing like the income dividend ETFs that we're seeing, now with, such funds like MSTR paying, $2 or more, PLTY paying $4 or more, and the other funds, which I really pay attention to, the Yield Max funds, but I do plan on expanding my horizon to the other fund providers as we continue to grow our portfolio. But they really captured my attention. I've been playing with them kind of since late July of last year, trying to figure out how to maneuver and how to work and basically how to move the money around, and I couldn't figure it out. And after speaking to Robinhood customer service, it was like, well, okay, you're generating this type of income, but unless you can cash it out and make it usable income, it's just being reinvested or there to pay back any margins that you've used. And then I stumbled upon a gentleman by the name of Kamir over there with the High Yield Dividend Warriors, and he was able to guide me through the process of how to move the money around. And even despite what Robinhood customer service said, yes, there is a very simple way of being able to withdraw your income dividends. And so I was able to set that up with just a little bit of information from Kamir. So very thankful to him for his direction. Well, I won't say direction. Let's just say him telling me how to maneuver through the Robinhood app. He never gave me any type of financial advice, as they don't do that over there. So I don't think anybody would put themselves, especially over the internet, in the position of giving out financial advice when they are not licensed to do so, or legally in a position to do so. So big shout out to the High Yield Dividend Warriors over there on the Discord channel. And Kamir, as always, thank you for refocusing my lens on how you should be looking at these dividend income ETFs versus, well, most people want to look at the NAV, and some people call it NAV erosion. I actually call it a investment. Just like if you were to invest in a real estate or property, that property has a propensity of either increasing or decreasing. And I believe that's truly the same of any investment vehicle, as I've talked about on my previous videos. But anyhow, kind of getting back to me, just kind of figuring out a way to again, not just supplement my income, but to create multiple income streams from which I could be paid on a consistent basis to not only take care of my financial responsibilities, but to be able to transition into full-time retirement and live life without having to work for a living, and enjoy whatever time I have left on this planet in a manner that is consistent with just being truly financially happy. And that is my goal for the life of dividends. I hope that my new subscribers that I gained actually over the time that we began this channel, as well as recent as this morning, big ups to my man Rod over there at Retire on Dividends. He gave me a big shout out and asked me to drop my link to the Life of Dividends channel on his live broadcast this morning, while he was doing the estimates, I believe, for Group C this upcoming week. So thank you, Mr. Rod, and thank you to all of our new subscribers on the channel. And stay tuned. I think the way this is working out and turning out, I do know that the stock market has and will go through some rough patches, but it's just a matter of living, learning, and knowing what to do with your finances when we hit those rough patches. And I'm going to touch a little more on that, especially regarding the use of margin. Some people do, some people don't like using margin, but really, how are you going to expedite your investment or accelerate your investment success without using other people's money, as Kamir likes to say? I believe there's a balance that you'll have to find in utilizing margin, if that's what you're seeking to do. It's not about using all of the margin, as we've seen in the last several weeks, but I think finding a balance that works for you, understanding the impact of the margin maintenance for each fund, such as what we've seen recently with MSTR shooting up to a margin maintenance of 70%. And that having a great bearing on margin warnings and margin calls, as well as the other funds. There's absolutely funds that have 100% margin maintenance, and the way to maneuver around that and set your margin limits on a regular basis to something that can create balance. For life of dividends, it's we started off with 30%, but as we go into our portfolio dividend update this week, you'll see that we've gone over our 30% to something that is, and for the purpose of a financial benefit win this past week. So I believe that's enough information from the life of dividends as far as getting to know. So why don't we jump into our dividend portfolio update for this past week, April 25th, 2025. Where am I at? Sorry, I haven't had my coffee this morning, and I normally don't try to talk numbers or logic without my coffee. So let's jump into the dividend portfolio update. Here we go. So starting off where we left off like 2 weeks ago, I did forego doing a video last week, but our last video we left off on trading week ending April 11th, 2025, and we had a balance in the account of $10,184.86. And at the end of this past trading week, April 25th, 2025, we have a balance of $10,984.31. So that, along with the margin that we've used, gives us a total market value of our portfolio being $27,999.54. Of course, you can see there the equity that I mentioned, $10,984.31. And the total margin used, well, yeah, we did use a little more than what our limits were. Total margin used was $17,015.23. And here are the specifics of what's in our portfolio currently through the trading week of April 25th. But first, let's revert back to what we had with the trading week ending April 11th. As you see there, we had 100 shares of PLTY. We had 1,142 shares of Coney. We had 302 shares of ULTY and 215 shares of TSLY. Now, moving into the trading week ending April 25th, we've grown our portfolio a little further beyond that. As you see there, we had Coney, or we had 858 shares of Coney. I accidentally hit the sell button and was waiting for Coney to go back down so I could recapture it with what was an accidental sell. I didn't even know, or I guess I had forgot it was even there, but yeah, accidentally left a limit sell for 142 shares, bringing me down to 858 shares of Coney currently. I'm going to jump over MRNY. I'm going to speak to that last, but as you see here, no, let's jump over MSTY too. But as you see here, the PLTY, we increased from 100 shares to 205 shares. Just because of the dividend that was, announced last week for PLTY. We wanted to take advantage of that. So yeah, we now currently have 205 shares of PLTY. TSLY, or Tesla, we have increased from 215 shares to 500 shares even. And ULTY, well, we increased from 302 shares to 600 shares. Now, moving back to Misty, because we did not have Misty in our previous week's portfolio, it is now time to begin building Misty, but doing so without margin. So I'm actually buying Misty through the reoccurring dividend, so that circumvents using any margin and comes right out of my checking account directly, so I don't have to deal with the 70% margin maintenance and none of the margin warnings or margin calls that comes from using a fund with 70% margin maintenance. So we are rebuilding MSTY up for, I don't think it pays this coming week. I think it's the week thereafter. And we will use margin if needed to take advantage of any high dividend that they declare or announce. But on a daily basis, we, I believe, are buying about 1 share of MSTY daily, Monday through Friday. As for MRNY, well, you see there we have 35 shares. And I could not help but to look at the dividend announcement for MRNY being 12 cents or 0.1261 per share, and looking at the price at the time that I bought the 35 shares, again circumventing the margin maintenance, because MRNY does have a margin maintenance of 100%. I also set up a daily reoccurring investment to purchase, I believe, about three and a half shares daily, Monday through Friday. So that's going to get built out as well. And I'm like, how can you miss up 12 cents a share on a fund that at the time I bought it was like $2.70, $2.65, $2.70 per share, and get 12 cents a share when I was looking at, when I began this process of income dividend investing, looking at AGNC, and they're teetering between $9-10 a share. And it's like, I'm not a fan of Moderna, really haven't followed the company, but if they're paying 12 cents a share on $2.65.70 versus an AGNC that's paying 12 cents on $9.5, $10 a share, it only makes sense to throw some spare change in MRNY. Now, this is a fund that we'll watch and see what happens with it, but this is like a spare change kind of vehicle, because it is so cheap, but does yield quite the dividend. I've also set this up in a Charles Schwab account that I hadn't used in a couple years, and I believe I bought 10 shares of MRNY. I did that because I just wanted to see the difference in the dividend payout time frame of when Robinhood pays our dividends on Friday, late Friday evenings, versus when Charles Schwab pays. And sure enough, my Charles Schwab dividend for MRNY was paid into the Charles Schwab account before 10 a.m., while the Robinhood account got its dividend payouts actually later than usual this past Friday. I want to say it was probably somewhere about 7:15, 7:30-ish time frame. I really wish Robinhood would fix that. I don't understand why Charles Schwab can pay you out before 10 o'clock on Fridays, and that's AM time, and Robinhood has to wait till late in the evening to pay its dividend. So I'm hoping that we can jump on a live call that Rod from Retire on Dividends is going to have with Jay at Yield Max sometime in May and ask him the question as to why do the dividends have to be paid late into the evening with Robinhood, but on other broker providers they're paid during or throughout the business day on Friday, giving us an opportunity or time to either utilize those funds to invest or reinvest in our funds. Kind of sucks to have to wait till Monday if you want to reinvest or purchase something with your dividends that you were paid. So that's just some feedback to Robinhood and YieldMax. I hope they can straighten that out and step their game up to their competition, Charles Schwab. It's funny because, like, going back to the Charles Schwab app and even their website, of course, my account was merged over to Charles Schwab from TD Ameritrade, which I thoroughly love their app and website. It was very user friendly, just like Robinhood is. The only downside, of course, we gotta wait till late Friday to get paid. But love the Robinhood app. Love the TD Ameritrade app and website. Not so much with the Charles Schwab. It seems to be like a website and a app from the 1990s. So yeah, Charles Schwab, not so user friendly. But again, I'm hoping that we can have a conversation with YieldMax and Jay, and perhaps they can figure out something that they need to do to step up their game with their competition of Charles Schwab and other brokers that pay out their dividends during the business day on Fridays. That would be so much of a benefit and advantageous to the investors. So just a little experiment that I ran and saw the difference, but I'm gonna stick with Robinhood. Again, just hope we can work out the dividend payment thing and get paid earlier on Fridays. Buying power. Okay, here we go. As you see there, my current buying power is $7,279.44. Of the total margin I have available, which is $24,294.67, I have used $17,015.23 last week. And again, I have a remaining $7,279.44 to use, but we are not using it. Of the self-imposed buying power limits that I've put on myself of 30%, I've used actually 70% of the margin total, and the remaining amount I have under the self-imposed limits is 0% or $0. But you're going to see how this works out with my play of the week. As you also see there, the margin status is a low risk, even still, having used the 17,000 and change. I've got a 15.83% margin buffer. And keep in mind, when I'm paid dividends, I take those dividends out of the account to utilize as you would any income that one makes. I'm not currently leaving my income dividends in to reinvest and grow the portfolio. I will most likely begin doing that in the month of July, when I begin to fully take my VA award, and 100% of it is entirely invested into income paying stocks and dividend ETFs. So again, we still don't have any margin warnings, still don't have any margin calls. All is still well, but it is my goal, as you will see in my play of the week, to get that amount used down from 70% to under 30% as my self-imposed limit. And now it's what you all been waiting for, payday. As we all aware, payday was on Friday with the dividend payouts from the Yield Max Group C, and the weekly payers were paid in the evening on Friday. And as you can see here, the first one was the PLTY paid me on 205 shares at a dividend of $4.66 a share. That's why I couldn't pass this up and use more margin than necessary, or use more margin than I really wanted to. But it paid an amount of $954.40. So I was quite happy with that, and seeing that notification come across my phone was great. The next dividend we got paid was from our weekly payer, which was ULTY, where we were paid on 600 shares at a 0.836 cents per share, and that got me a dividend payout of $50.16, putting my weekly dividend amount over $50 that I was paid. Next, we have the newcomer that I've added for my spare change category, is the MRNY. They paid me on 25.6024 shares at a dividend rate per share of 0.1261, or 12 cents a share. And I was paid a dividend of $3.23. So all three of these dividends equated to a payout of over $1,000 in dividend income this past Friday. All right, now this is Life of Dividends Play of the Week, and my PLTY was specifically the Play of the Week. As you see there, I did purchase 205 shares of PLTY at an average price per share of $63.84. The total cost of margin used was $13,087.20. PLTY did declare a dividend per share of $4.66. Yielding me $954.40, as you see there. Now, I was waiting for PLTY to recoup, and it is on the recoup direction. It just wasn't able to do so by the close of the market and after the market, or after hours on Friday. So it is my goal and my hope to continue to hold the 205 shares of the PLTY and sell them at $65 a share, generating 13,325 shares or better, depending on how fast and how much PLTY increases on Monday or Tuesday of this week. Hopefully we can keep a green streak in the market, and it will continue to increase in price per share. If we are able to sell at $65 a share, that will yield us a gain per share of $1.16, or a gain in dollars of $237.80. And if you apply that or add that to the $954.40 dividend I was paid, then that would make for an overall total gain from last week's play of the week of $1,192.20. Now, as we can see, how are we going to work this margin thing? If we're able to sell it $65 per share or better, again, that will generate $13,325. And of that $13,325, we will take the $13,087.20 and pay back the margin to reduce it down to 16.2%. And that's based on the margin numbers that we have right now. As you know, the margin does fluctuate as the market goes up and down as well. But if it stays the same or better, then we should have a reduction of under 30%, bringing us back within our self-imposed limits of 30% of margin use. Now, again, that still is going to bring an additional $237.80, and as I mentioned, that would make our total overall gain from our PLTY play of the week being $1,192.20. And here we have it, as closing out the month of April 2025. Our total dividend payouts was $2,333.17. So Life of Dividends has reclaimed its status back to the 2K Club. And in the month of May, because we are going to have 5 weeks that we are paid, I am hoping to grow. It's a goal, not saying it's going to happen, but I'm hoping to grow my income dividends to the $4,000 level. That is a goal I've set for May 2025, but closing out April 2025, our total dividend payouts $2,333.17. And moving to Life of Dividends total dividend payouts for 2025, beginning from January 1st, 2025 to basically year to date of 2025, our total dividend payouts are equaling $6,428.07. Not bad additional income for allowing your money and a little bit of other people's money to do the work for you. This is truly amazing, and I cannot wait to see the continued growth of my income dividend portfolio as when July hits, we really take things serious by putting our entire VA award into our portfolio, as well as our discretionary income. It is my goal currently, being nearly 55 years old, to take Social Security at 62. So I have just over 7 years to build my dividend income portfolio, so that it is combined with my VA award and Social Security. So based on my projections and calculations, which I also did this past week for Social Security, seeing what it would look like if I did take it at 62 versus 65 or 70. I'm not doing that. I'm going fishing, y'all. If I took it at 62, and if we continue to grow our dividends and have our VA award and Social Security, my calculations and projections, how can I say, it's a funny thing that you can work your entire life, but when you put the right things in play and you take advantage of the opportunities that are out there financially, it appears as though I will make more money in retirement, a significant amount of more money being made without working than I would have ever made working for a living. And one other thing you don't know about me, I've been working since I was 11 years old. I started off part-time at a gas station. Now, keep in mind, I'm a kid from the 70s. So, yeah, I would clean windows, and couldn't pump gas, but I would clean windows, take out trash, and people would they would just tip me. And I considered myself, if not the richest 11-year-old on my block. I was doing pretty good. I mean, I could buy out the ice cream truck, no doubt. So it was all good. But when you look at the calculations and the projections of what you could potentially do with building an income dividend portfolio, especially this late in the game in your life's journey, and seeing how that can not just supplement your income, but become multiple dividend income paying streams of income, it begs the question of, man, why didn't I start this in my 20s? Do you know where I could be right now? But of course, we didn't have income ETFs or dividend income ETFs back in the 90s. But they're here now, and I think that's something that we all have to be conscious of and aware of, and keep our ear to the ground and up to date on current events financially, and take advantage of every opportunity we can to grow our income portfolios, and take advantage of any financial windfalls or opportunities that present themselves. So this is my dividend portfolio update for April 25th, for the week of April 25th, 2025, as we close out the month of April and we move into the coming week. And I think, Group C with Coney will pay out, I think, May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd. So that will kick off May's earning, or the earnings for the month of May. And we do have 5 weeks of earnings, or 5 weeks of income dividend payments. So again, let's maximize this opportunity and make it well worth our benefits. Thank you for joining and listening to me ramble on here at Life of Dividends. It is the goal of the channel to not just show you what our portfolio is every week, but as we grow it and as we begin to utilize the income that we generate, and building our life of dividends, to show you just how we put that income to work, whether that is buying my forever retirement home, a place that I can spend my last days in, purchasing a new vehicle. I currently drive a 5-year-old vehicle. And it does have I just broke over 200,000 miles on it. And, replacing it is something I may want to do in the future. I'm really kind of excited about having a vehicle paid off and not having a vehicle payment anymore. And that's coming within the next few months. So, taking that additional money and investing it would be ideal as well. But yeah, showing you just the life of dividends and what building an income dividend portfolio can provide you financially in enhancing your life and your lifestyle, and living in retirement or transitioning into retirement, into full retirement, in a way financially where you can breathe and not be stressed out, and certainly not have to work for a living in retirement. That is pretty ridiculous, and I was beating myself up for many weeks before I decided to invest my interest and efforts into building a income dividend portfolio. But yeah, that's it for this week's Life of Dividends portfolio update. Again, thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you, Rod, over at Retire on Dividends, and to Mr. Kamir over at the High Yield Dividend Warriors on Discord. Sure, at some point in time with the growth of the channel, we may potentially come up with our own Discord and all of that. I'm not really into discussing all of the technical numbers of things. I'm going to leave that to Rod. He does a much better job than I could ever do, because, as clearly, if I don't have my coffee, I'm stumbling. But yeah, that's it for this week. Again, thank you all for watching and subscribing, liking, and sharing Life of Dividends. I look forward to next week what the coming week will bring, and next week's video of our progress. So with that, I will wish you all a blessed Sunday, and prayers for a successful green market this coming week. Take care. God bless.